Victim mode is always going to be a blockage.
You're a bit more, I think, open than to receive different challenges because you're not as risk averse. So then you go for it. And when you go for it, that's when things happen.
I feel a lot of business owners out there in particular are so stressed with money not coming through, bills piling, I'm blocked. All right, let's actually take a moment. Let's take a step back and see what a solution is here to allow for more flow. And, you know, sometimes it really is a matter of just strategy. Law of action. Law of action is key. Yeah, sometimes we can get really stressed and overwhelmed with things. So I would do something ritualistic. I just want to be clear that this is something used by elite athletes, CEOs, business founders. Like look at Nadal, for instance, on the tennis court. That's all ritualistic.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of Career Reshaped. I'm Pauline.
And I'm Natasha, and today we have Danya Gamliel with us. Danya is a fifth-generation clairvoyant and intuitive healer with over a decade of experience guiding people towards financial abundance, spiritual alignment, and deep self-trust. She blends powerful psychic insight with grounded practical strategy to support clients through life's biggest transitions and energetic expansions.
Thanks for watching. We'll be back in 10 seconds. This is our part 2 of our chat with Danya of a 3-part series. If you've missed out on part 1, don't worry. Just check out the link below. Part 3 will be out next week, so don't forget to subscribe and follow so you don't miss out.
Danya, could you tell us what's the difference between following intuition and just making an impulsive decision?
Yes, this is a tricky one because if you don't know how to recognize what is intuition versus this is just something I've got to follow because something feels an impulsive decision, right? But look, I do have a trick around how to access your intuition when you're in a under pressure moment, because some of us don't really know what that intuitive voice is. If you have to decide between 2 decisions, what I recommend is you assign each decision to heads or tails, flip a coin, and when the coin's in the air, whatever you wish for it to land on, that is your intuition. That's your gut being like, I hope it's this. So listen to that if you need something in a moment of like, this is high pressure crisis, right? Otherwise, yes, you want to be methodical and slow. We're not saying to use that in every scenario, but it is effective. It will tell you, it will show you which way.
Yeah, because you've literally got just a couple of seconds to just make that choice.
Absolutely. Yes.
But that's the thing, don't overthink it.
Don't overthink it.
Because once you overthink it, that's going to muddy you, the whole process.
Correct.
And throughout my entire life, and especially my husband and I, we find that it's the same for both of us, that it's usually our first thought or our first pick is the right one. And then you have people that say, oh, but you've got to keep looking just in case. And you keep looking and then it's just, and then you've gone down a wrong path. Or you go back to that first one, like, we knew that to begin with. Why did we just waste all this time? And now I try to always stick to that. And I still let that little voice in my head go, no, but you could be wrong. Sometimes takes over, but usually if I stick to that first thought, like even when it's, as this is really trivial, but playing, the memory game with my kids where you flip the cards.
Yes.
And and then it's just, I think it's that one. And then oh no, maybe it wasn't. And then later that one gets flipped and like, oh, it was that one. And I should have just flipped that one. And then I would have won the game.
Would have, could have, should have. You're right. Yes. Listen to that first inner voice. I agree.
So how do you explain your work to someone who is spiritual but is still skeptical of psychics and clairvoyance?
I don't know that the two really fit, do they? If you're spiritual, then you should be open to some degree. But if you're skeptical, I believe my work is polarizing. It's not for everyone. It is slowly making its way into Western culture, but I actually don't really try to explain my work to skeptics. I prefer not to work with them because I don't think we're aligned. I don't think that there's a need until they experience things through their own life journey that perhaps change their views. They might come to me. That's happened. But in reality, if you're skeptical, it's probably just not for you. It's not for everyone. I do find that through Europe, for instance, Asia, South America, they are far more open to spiritual practice into, mixing it with the practical. We're not so much, and that's okay. That's fine. I don't explain it to skeptics.
Apparently, deep down, we're all psychics, just not everyone's able to tap into it. Not everyone is that foresight or vision.
I think deep down, everyone has an intuition.
Maybe that's what it is. I don't know, but I know I have a gut feeling, and my gut feeling is usually right, but that I can't see things for other people. I'm not psychic. I'll put it this way. I'm not psychic, but apparently I can tap into it if I tried real hard.
Is that true, Danya?
I think it's like anything. It could be the best analogy I can think of is like artistry, right? Some people are very talented, multi-skilled. Others, perhaps, they struggle, even though everyone can paint in one way or another. It's something you do need to nurture. It's something that you do need to evolve, like any muscle, I believe.
Yeah.
So you need to really focus on its development for it to be powerful.
So spooky that you just mentioned art as the example, because I almost said the identical thing to my son last night, because he said he had art class and didn't like it, and I said, because you think you're not good at it, and he goes, yeah, I'm not good at it. And I said the same thing. I said, well, everyone can do art, and your way of doing art is different. And then I smushed an avocado and I said, that's my art. It represents life and how easily it can get crushed, and and you're right. So it's just, if you develop it and you think about it differently, your mindset changes.
Correct. Yes. How funny.
It was interesting last night. So what does financial alignment feel like energetically? And how can someone tell they're not in it?
Financial alignment is when you are open to receiving opportunity. It's as simple as that. It's you are open to receiving and you are recognizing. It's similar to when you're wanting to purchase, say, a red Holden car. When you go into that mind frame, you start seeing them everywhere on the road. If you're financially aligned, you will start interpreting different situations as opportunities. So financial alignment is also making the decision of being financially aligned and saying, I am open, I respect money, I welcome it, and I want opportunity to come to me. So that needs to be the stronger narrative than why is it not happening for me? What's going on with why is nothing falling into place for me? So yes, that's somewhat woo-woo, as we say, but at the same time, there's science behind it, like the car that we've just explained. When you are openly looking for opportunity, you will make, lemonade out of lemons, as they say.
Yeah, that's actually so true. And I think we're going to have to write down what you said about what you have to say for that. And
it can be a variation.
Start envisioning a certain amount in my bank account. I'll start seeing it.
Start feeling.
I do believe in that.
Yes. Start ladies, if you were to envision, say, this is an exorbitant amount, someone might say, but if you were to envision 200 million in your bank account, what is the first feeling that you have? Is it excitement? Is it like, why me? Why would that happen to me? There's no way. It depends. It's really complex because we will all have different things that make us feel unsafe with an amount of that value. It's not the amount necessarily, it's the story behind it.
And you're right, because I get a feeling of relief. And then it's that thought of, all right, now what are we going to do with it?
Yeah.
How do we split it? Where does it have to go? What do we invest in? Family, and the whole list of you got to help this person, and then it becomes a stress. So you're right, a certain amount of money can cause issues.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, I don't know. First thing I'll do is new car, new clothes, new face, like liposuction things. Then I'll worry about who gets what when. But yeah,
I would feel really like, I've got to have it all in order first.
Yes,
yeah.
So you're smarter. That's why you're smarter with money. That's why you look after a bank account, not me.
When I worked in finance, I looked after some of BOW's 100, and often those that inherited a substantial amount, their first question was, how do I not impact my children negatively? So they saw money as potentially like loss of purpose when you had too much. So yes, there's a lot of negativity around money and what we see it as. And this is the problem when women particularly, because men don't have the same issue, when they ask for a pay rise, when they ask for, they feel unworthy, they feel like it's rude to, what's the worst that can happen? You'll get no. But you might be able to then use that as your barometer to have the next conversation. There's a lot of blockages around, we use that word loosely, around money and the money story.
What are some surprising ways intuitive guidance shows up in business context?
It's becoming more prevalent through big organizations. And the way that we're seeing this is, for instance, and we're not supporting gambling necessarily, but Crown Casino, they've feng shuied the entire Crown Casino. Feng shui being, you want to have that harmonious energy flow that's conducive with wealth. Same with the agency, which is a large real estate company in the US, also feng shuied. Personally, how I used it through the corporate sector was I wouldn't use it with clients because I think that's quite invasive to read people without their consent, but I would use my intuition when I was hiring someone. And that's very much aligned with where you ladies sit. When you have 2 resumes, 2 individuals, apples and apples, both strong candidates, it really comes down to, how do I forecast? How do I foresee this person fitting with the team? How do I foresee them in front of the clients? Things like that. Some might say it's linked with emotional intelligence. It is to some extent, but it's forecasting something intangible, something that you don't have historic data to really say, because of XYZ, I believe this will be the outcome. That's intuition. So we use it more than we think, and we need to use it more.
The feng shui was interesting. I didn't know about that. See, it's amazing what you're learning today. How do you balance deep spiritual work with practical, grounded next steps for your clients?
The difference between how I work, I believe, I'm sure there's others that still offer something similar, but from my experience, I'm different because I do psychic work with cards, but the advice and the guidance is very, very tangible. It's literally like, if you were to take steps XYZ, this will be your outcome based on the energy as we read it today. If you were to take steps ABC, this will be your outcome. I don't actually talk a lot of fluff in my readings. That sounds really negative. I don't mean to down talk how anyone else works at all. It's, that would suit their audience, absolutely. But I am very tangible, very practical. I'm all about how to get you the best result in this physical experience that we have. We're not living in the other realm. We're here on earth paying bills, needing relationships, wanting relationships, being parents, so forth. So very tangible advice, which direction to go, which not. And there's a lot of responsibility that I hold with my words.
That's what people want, or at least that's what I want. Like, if I go see a psychic, I don't like it when they talk on the same thing for like 20 minutes and they repeat, and it's like beating a dead horse already. It's like, I got it. Okay, this is what's going to happen. Like, can we move on to other things? It's like, I don't like that. I feel like they're just buying time. There's nothing else to say. We're just going in circles. I want the advice. That's what I want to hear. Like, what paths do I have? What's going to be the best choices for me to make? At the end of the day, people still put their own thought process into an intuition, but if they're coming to you, they are seeking that guidance. I like the fact that you're so straightforward and this is it, and there's no fluff in between.
That you give the option. Going down this path, this will be. Going down this path, this will be. And I really, really love that, because it's often you get told one path, and I think, well, that's in this moment if I make that choice, but what if I don't make that choice?
Yes.
I want to know what that path leads down. So I love that you give those different pathways. I think you're the first psychic I know to actually do that. So I love that difference. So on your platform, you talk about helping people build deep self-trust. What does that look like in action?
It's actually the opposite more so. It's around even if you don't trust yourself fully, feel the fear and do it anyway. So that's really what I'm talking about. One of the best pieces of advice I received was when I was about to do live TV in this line of work. I was so nervous. I just started doing this professionally, and a mentor that I was working with explained that you need to acknowledge that feeling, put nervous you in the corner and say, I'll deal with you later, and go forward. And it's really about alleviating that imposter syndrome. We all have it. The top CEOs have it. People in the highest positions all over the world, they have imposter syndrome. You're never going to fully have deep trust of self. It's part of ego. Ego is not a bad thing, by the way, just very quickly caveat. Ego can be something that helps protect us, from doing things that are scary or new. So we need to sometimes be scared and still do it. And that's what I mean by, trust the process rather than self-trust.
Yeah, there's a whole book about feel the fear and do it anyway. And it's the title alone creates fear for me.
Yeah.
But it's true. I have been in positions where I stepped outside of my comfort zone to try to achieve a goal, and then you realize it's not actually that scary.
No, and the payoff is brilliant. Like the experience of it, it's always so positive.
Yeah, absolutely. And could you share a moment with a client where they had a major breakthrough in trusting their own intuition?
Yes. I mean, there's been so many. I definitely don't want to breach client confidentiality or anything like that, but just to use examples, around finding the right place of work, feeling like one looked good on paper, but the other one, you're just being guided intuitively to go down another pathway, and that working out really well. That person's now a general manager I won't go into too much detail. There were many examples also around relationships, some leaving relationships, some starting relationships. I've got 10 plus years of examples similar to that, but I have to be so careful with, detail around client confidentiality.
Yeah, of course. So basically, it does happen, and it happens often
All the time.
that your clients have those breakthroughs where they learn to trust their intuition.
Absolutely.
And what's your take on manifestation? So what's helpful and what's been distorted by pop culture?
Manifestation is actually very challenging. I think that we focus too much on it. And the only time I've personally used manifestation in its real core form was when I wanted to meet my now husband. It takes time. It could take years even.